Humility is a trap. Humility is a trap. Being humble is a trap. There's nothing to be humble about. Humility is a trap. You can be grounded, guided, advised, but there's no reason to be humble. There's no reason to be humble. It's at odds with expressing the full range of you. It's canceling out being fully embodied. If someone says to you, "Oh, you're so beautiful, you're so talented, you're so smart," that is their perception of what you are putting out. And so saying, "No, no, I'm nothing special," in an effort to appease them is locking yourself into a narrative. No one's going to kill you if you say, "I am so smart, so beautiful, so special." No one's going to kill you. People might feel challenged by that. That's not your business. That is not your business. Because if you do ground yourself, and I mean, like, if you do pull yourself down below the level that you want to be operating in, what does that actually do for people apart from appease them? Why are you living your life for the appeasement of other people? Then, if your life feels like shit and you feel like shit, that's not helping anyone. And no one's really going to look back and be like, "Damn, their life is shitty. Like, I'm so glad that I humbled them so that they could stay in that position. I'm so glad that I humbled them. I'm so glad they're so humble." That does nothing. That does nothing. And anyone who wants to humble you anyway is probably just like deeply uncomfortable with however you're expressing your own whatever, your essence, whatever. It just makes them uncomfortable. And being uncomfortable is not a crime. Being uncomfortable is not a crime. Being uncomfortable is not an attack. Being uncomfortable is not, and I don't mean causing someone discomfort actively. I mean causing someone discomfort by just showing up as yourself. Not doing anything to them, but just by showing up as yourself. If someone feels like a sense of discomfort, that's kind of their job. It's their thing to unpack. It is not your job to appease them out of the discomfort. Why are they uncomfortable with you stating clearly, "I am better. I am perfection. I am. I'm perfect." They're not a baby. They're not your child. You don't need to raise them. They can deal with that. If they're uncomfortable with the idea of someone saying that they're perfect, why are you uncomfortable with that? You can say that. I'm not going to beat your ass. You can say it. Don't be scared. Speak into the microphone. I just think humility has been like a fly trap for me. I think humility has been like someone laying out a glue trap, and I've walked right into it. And I think it has largely been about not making other people feel uncomfortable, by not making other people feel insecure, by not making other people feel less than, which is not my job to do. That's not my work, you know? Allowing people to like feel like seen or heard or whatever is like a choice that I'm making. But if I have to speak down on myself in order to do it, I don't know, that feels like a trap. And it feels like anyone who would want that from me doesn't actually want me to be like, you want me dead? Do you want me to die? That's crazy. I do feel like it's always been a fond response of mine to receive a compliment and then to immediately like shoot it down so that someone does not feel uncomfortable in any way, or to shoot it down so someone can keep a certain narrative about me. whether that is someone who believes that I'm not intelligent, and they have to believe that. They can't have that worldview shattered. And so I fawn to them by saying, yeah, you're right, I'm not that smart. Even though my actions and the way that I move through life have shown me, and the way that I've been received have shown me that I am intelligent. But I have a fawn response where I don't want to challenge that person's worldview. And it's partly because, like, in the past, challenging that person's worldview, saying, I am smart or smarter than you, I am a better person than you, I am a kinder person than you are being deeply insecure, and you are challenging that insecurity as violence, as anger, as wrath. Um, I feel like in the past that was met with obviously consequences. I could not say, I am this, I am that. I could not break their immersion. I could not break their narrative because then they would try and break my face. But luckily for me, I'm not trapped in a house of madness. I'm 27 years old. And it's not my fault, I guess, that I had to construct a narrative to make somebody feel safe enough to not hurt me. It's not my fault that I developed a fawn response. Um, and there's nothing to be ashamed of there. Um, but that fawn response doesn't align with a life that I want to live and the person that I want to be. I cannot fawn my way through the rest of my life if I want to embody myself, if I want to be myself. Um, and I cannot fawn to people who remind me of somebody that made me feel unsafe. Somebody who could not hold discomfort without crashing out, without lashing out, without retaliating, without bullying, without name calling, without violence, without doing things to put me back in my place, which is just their place for me. It's not my place. My place is here. Their place for me was here. That doesn't align with the life that I want to live. So I can't stay there. So I think humility was a safe response because if I say, no, I'm not this, I'm not that, if I leave, if I go into the world and people say, you're so this and you're so that, and I say, no, 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 I'm not, stop thinking that about me. It was out of safety. It was out of fear. It was conditioned. Um, but I was constantly doing that, like bringing myself back down there because that was safe. And maybe that made me like a really frictionless person to be around. It also made me a person that had no backbone. It also made me a person that had no viewpoint. It also made me a person that had no, it was very wishy-washy. A person who is like spineless as a career, not their fault, not their fault, nothing to be ashamed of, unless you absolutely just like don't ever, I guess, peep what's happening. But a person who is performatively spineless is kind of a dangerous person. They can't stick up for themselves. They can't place themselves anywhere. They have no like real point of view. Um, they can't show up as themselves. They can't show up, period. Again, nothing to be ashamed of. I think there should be a lot of empathy for that. But being performatively spineless does allow you to duck accountability a lot of the time. And I know a lot about that. Um, and so I see it as an act of taking accountability to not humble myself because it has never served me to do that. And it has always, always turned me into a person who is performatively spineless, performatively frictionless, avoidant. And those are not things that align with who I want to be or who I am because it's an I am. It's not I'm going to be, it's an I am now. Time is a movie strip. The past, the present, future are all just a rubber band. It's all happening simultaneously. So yeah, humility is a trap. I think humility is the way that we have been taught to move through the world because also being kind of performatively humble and spineless makes you really, really easy to direct. It makes it really easy for someone to say this is your place if you don't know what your place is. It makes it very easy for someone to point somewhere and say that's where you belong. Um, structurally, individually, structurally it's more complicated, but individually, on individual, interpersonal way, that I guess if like individual interactions and structural kind of like systemic issues or control, it's like a spectrum as opposed to just like two ends, two opposite separate phenomenon. It's like a spectrum of behaviors and interactions. But yeah, I don't I'm not gonna be humble. I think it's dangerous to my spirit. I think it feels like poison. I don't like it. Um, whenever I do it and it doesn't feel rooted in anything, whenever I do it, it often feels like I am like a couple times when someone has come up to me and be like, "You are so this." I look up to you, which is a thing that has happened. It's a thing that happens. Your energy, you're this, you're that, and I've said no, 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 no. I'm nothing. I'm nothing. Every time it has felt like a panic response, like a fear response, like I'm saying, like, don't look at me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. I'm not a target, you know. Um, which just made me live my life like there was a target on my back, fucking scared rabbit syndrome. Um, and I just don't have time for that because I got shit that I want and that I'm gonna get. And in order to get that shit that I want, in order to have it or keep it because I have it already, um, I cannot take myself off that pedestal. I just can't. I can't like place myself outside of a world that I want to live in or internal world, I guess, or a life that I want to live. I can't take myself off that pedestal and put myself somewhere else to experience things that I don't want to experience, or to be experienced in ways that I don't want to be experienced. I guess so. The next time someone's like, "You're so this," insert good thing here, and you feel that instinct to be like, "No," I want you to imagine yourself like a rabbit with a target on their back. That's you. You're fawning. Stop fawning. Stop fawning. You're not in the bad place anymore. For people who aren't, you know, you're not in the bad place anymore. You made it. You survived. You don't have to act like a cage thing anymore. You're not. Spooky.